People in Okinawa will tell you there are places you should never disturb. Ancient tombs, old banyan trees, forgotten shrines. And if you're lucky, someone might warn you about the house. Not by its address, not by its owner's name, only by what everyone calls it. The 3-day house. I laughed the first time I heard the story. I stopped laughing on the third night. I moved to Okinawa in the late 1990s for work and wanted to live off base. I wasn't interested in crowded apartment buildings or military housing. I wanted to experience the island the way the locals did. After weeks of searching, I found a small, traditional Okinawan home tucked away at the end of a narrow road outside the city. It was perfect. Red-tiled roof, white stone walls, a small garden, even a pair of weathered Shisa statues guarding the entrance. The rent was unbelievably cheap. Too cheap. When I asked the real estate agent why, she paused for several seconds before answering. Most people don't stay very long. I smiled. Bad neighbors? She didn't smile back. They usually leave before the third morning. I assumed it was a translation problem. I signed the lease anyway. The first day couldn't have gone better. The house felt peaceful. The breeze carried the scent of the ocean through the open windows. Birds sang outside. Everything was exactly what I'd hoped for. That night, I fell asleep almost instantly. Then, at exactly 2:47 in the morning, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy. Wood creaked in the hallway outside my bedroom. Someone was walking through my house. I grabbed the baseball bat beside my bed and rushed into the hall. Nothing. Every window was locked. Every door was still bolted shut. I searched every room. Empty. The footsteps had stopped. The next morning, I convinced myself the old house had simply settled during the night. Old wood makes strange sounds. That's all it was. Or so I told myself. That afternoon, I met an elderly woman who lived across the road. She watched me sweeping leaves from the garden. "You moved in yesterday?" I nodded. She looked at the house instead of me. "Did you sleep well?" I hesitated. "There were noises." She slowly closed her eyes. "Tonight." She looked directly at me. "Don't answer if someone knocks." I laughed. "What if it's you?" "It won't be." Then she walked away. The second night, I stayed awake. At 2:47, the footsteps returned. This time, they were closer. Not in the hallway. Inside my bedroom. One step, another. I couldn't see anyone, but I could hear bare feet crossing the wooden floor. Stopping beside my bed, The room became impossibly cold. I held my breath. Then, 3 knocks echoed from the front door, exactly as the old woman had warned. Every instinct told me someone outside needed help. But something felt wrong. The knocking came again, slower, louder. Then a woman's voice, soft, barely above a whisper. "Please, my child is lost. Can you open the door?" Every hair on my body stood up. I remembered the warning. Don't answer. Don't open it. After nearly a minute, the knocking stopped. Silence returned. I don't remember falling asleep. The next morning, the front door was standing open. The deadbolt was still locked. I still can't explain that. That afternoon, I spoke to the elderly neighbor. She sighed as though she'd had this conversation many times before. "You should leave. I just signed a 1-year lease." "You won't finish 3 days." I asked her what had happened in the house. She stared toward the mountains before speaking. Long ago, before the war, the home had belonged to a young family. During the Battle of Okinawa, they hid beneath the floor as fighting swept through the village. Only one person came back out. The mother. She spent weeks searching for her husband and daughter. She never found either. Some said they died beneath the house. Others believed they were buried somewhere else without names. No one knew. The woman lived alone until the day she died. Every night, she walked through the house, calling for her child. The old woman looked at me with genuine concern. She doesn't know she's dead. I thanked her, but I still didn't leave. That decision nearly cost me everything. The third night, I never went to bed. Every light in the house stayed on. Midnight passed. 1 o'clock, 2, then 2:47. The lights went out, every one of them, at the exact same moment. The footsteps began again. Not one set, several. Adults, a child, slowly walking through every room. Then came the crying. A little girl. Not loud. Just enough to break your heart. I grabbed my flashlight. The beam flickered as I stepped into the hallway. That's when I saw her, a woman dressed entirely in white, standing at the end of the corridor. Her long black hair hid her face. She wasn't floating. She wasn't transparent. She looked completely real until she moved. She didn't walk. She glided toward me without taking a single step. As she came closer, she lifted one trembling hand, not to hurt me, to point toward the front door. Then she whispered, "They're outside." Before I could react, 3 deafening knocks shook the door. This time, something answered from the other side. Not a voice. A child's laughter. The woman suddenly screamed. A sound so full of grief that my knees buckled. Every window in the house exploded inward. The lights flashed back on. And she was gone. I didn't pack. I ran. I never went back. Years later, I asked another Okinawan man if he'd ever heard of the 3-day house. He nodded without hesitation. Then he asked me a question I'll never forget. When she pointed to the door, "Did you open it?" I told him no. His face relaxed. Good. I asked him why. He looked away before quietly saying, "Because the woman isn't what you should fear." Then he walked away. To this day, I don't know what was knocking, and I never want to find out. If you ever find yourself in Okinawa and someone offers you an impossibly beautiful old house for almost nothing, ask one question before you sign. How many nights did the last family stay? If the answer is 2, drive away.